It's election day. You picked out your candidates and you're ready to vote. So you go to your local polling location and you see this scene. You see an alien saying that they're you and picking their candidates for you. Now this may seem like a far-fetched scenario, but honestly, it's really not that far from the truth. If there's no reliable way to verify who someone is, how can we be completely sure that every vote is legitimate? So today, I will argue that the United States federal government should require government-issued photo IDs for all federal and state elections. And I really took the time to research national data, state-level policies, and real-world examples like Alabama. I also looked at both sides of the debate to understand concerns about fairness and access. I have also voted 2 times for my mother, underage, so some experience in the field. Right. And every single person in this room is affected by elections. I mean, it's the way you choose your leaders. If trust in this system disappears, so does confidence in leadership, laws, and outcomes. So, I will explain 3 major problems: the lack of trust, inconsistent standards, and weak verification. Then I will present voter ID as a solution and address opposing viewpoints. Let's start with the first problem. Many Americans do not fully trust election outcomes. According to the Pew Research Center in a 2022 survey, only about 20% of Americans said they were fully confident elections are run fairly. And if 1 of every 5 Americans fully trust elections, that means an overwhelming majority of the population has some level of doubt or skepticism about these elections. Think about it in real life. Imagine if 80% of the people you talk to said a restaurant was disgusting and dirty, but it passed inspection. You would still probably avoid it, right? In the same way, when people lose confidence in elections, they begin to question whether their vote truly matters, or if the system is working the way it's supposed to. So this lack of trust has extremely serious consequences. Even if actual voter fraud is pretty rare, perception becomes reality for many voters. When people believe elections are not fair, they are less likely to participate, and it lowers the voter turnout. It also fuels political division, like we saw with Trump in 2020. As groups begin to reject outcomes they do not like instead of accepting them, over time, this creates a cycle where distrust continues to grow, making it harder for the country to unite after elections. But this has happened before. In the 2000 election in Florida, it was decided by only 537 votes, and that's according to actual election records. And there was multiple recounts. There was many cases of fraud. They had over 180,000 ballots that were rejected due to possible voter fraud. There was also many people who were turned away at the polls or wrongfully purged from voter registration rolls, according to the United States Committee on Civil Rights. And so the Supreme Court had to step in and stop the recount and just decided that George W. Bush won the election. And this election is still really debated today, and it really shows how fragile public trust can be in the government. And this brings us to our second issue. Voting rules are not uniform across this country. According to the National Conference of State Legislators in 2023, only 35 states have any sort of voter ID laws, but other states do not, and they vary from strict photo ID to no ID requirements at all. If something as important to our in all government, it has different rules depending on where you live, then the system isn't equal. It's like getting pulled over and not have to give your officer your license because you're from Delaware. That's ridiculous. And this inconsistency creates confusion and raises further concerns about fairness. A voter in the state may face stricter requirements than a voter in another, even though they're participating in the same exact election. When rules are not consistent, it becomes harder for people to trust that system is fair. A national system should have clear and equal standards so every vote is treated the exact same, regardless of location. Which brings us to our final problem. Voting systems have shown vulnerabilities and errors. According to the University of Michigan and the University of Chicago, based on research of the 2000 election, 180,000 ballots in Florida were not counted because they did not register a valid vote or were fraudulent. Additional evidence shows that ballot designs in Palm Beach County caused over 2,000 voters to mistakenly vote for the wrong candidate. When thousands of votes are miscounted or thrown out due to confusion, that shows the system isn't as reliable as it should be. Even if intentional fraud is rare, errors like unclear ballots and inconsistent verification still impact election outcomes. When voters make mistakes or ballots are rejected, they can change results and reduce confidence in the system. These issues show that elections need stronger and more consistent verification methods to ensure every valid vote is counted correctly. So how do we fix this problem? These problems. The United States should require voter ID nationwide in all federal and state elections. This policy would require a valid government-issued photo ID, such as a driver's license, a passport, or a state ID, when voting in all federal and state elections. To ensure fairness, the government should provide free voter ID cards to all citizens who need them. This removes financial barriers and guarantees that cost does not prevent participation. In addition, access should be expanded through mobile ID units, like trucks that have ID services, and extended service hours, especially in rural or underserved areas where DMVs may be far away. These units can travel direct to communities, making it easier for people to obtain identification. If the government ensures both access and verification, then elections can be secure without restricting voters. When everyone has a clear and equal way to obtain ID, the requirement becomes a standard, not a barrier. This approach creates consistency across all states, so every voter follows the same rules. It strengthens security by verifying identity at the polls and reduces confusion caused by different state laws. At the same time, it increases public trust because people know every vote is being cast by a verified individual while still allowing all eligible citizens to participate. Not quite everyone agrees with this. Some time.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really good.